Atlas does not carry the earth. He carries the sky. The entire weight of heaven presses against his shoulders. He cannot set it down. He cannot kneel. He cannot take one step away from the edge of the world. His strength is legendary. But strength is the reason his punishment never ends. The gods did not chain Atlas because he was weak. They found a burden only he was powerful enough to survive. Heracles finally offered him a few moments of freedom. Atlas discovered that escape could be even more dangerous than captivity. Atlas belonged to the generation before the Olympian gods. He was a titan. His father was Iapetus. His mother is named as Clymene or Asia in different traditions. His brothers included Prometheus, Epimetheus, and Menoetius. Each brother became connected with a different kind of failure or endurance. Prometheus defied Zeus to protect humanity. Epimetheus accepted Pandora despite a warning. Menoetius was destroyed for violent arrogance. Atlas chose war. The conflict was called the Titanomachy. For 10 years, the older Titans fought Zeus and the younger gods. The war decided who would rule the cosmos. Many Titans followed Cronus. Atlas became one of their greatest commanders. He possessed enormous strength. Some later stories placed him at the head of the Titan army. But strength could not stop the new order. Zeus freed the Cyclopes and the hundred-handed ones. The Cyclopes forged divine weapons. Zeus received the thunderbolt. Poseidon received the trident. Hades received the helmet of invisibility. The hundred-handed ones threw mountains of stone against the Titans. The old gods were defeated. Most were imprisoned in Tartarus. Atlas received a different sentence. Zeus sent him to the western edge of the world. There, Atlas was forced to hold heaven away from earth. This detail matters. Modern statues often show Atlas supporting a globe. People therefore imagine him carrying the planet. Ancient Greek cosmology described another burden. Atlas held the sky. He kept the heavens from collapsing onto the land. Some early poetry says he knew the depths of the sea. He held the great pillars that separated heaven and earth. Later artists gave those pillars a human body. The Titan bent beneath a celestial sphere filled with stars. The punishment was more than heavy labor. Atlas became part of the structure of the universe. If he failed, the boundary between earth and heaven would disappear. Every sunrise depended on his endurance. Every night sky rested upon him. The world continued because one defeated enemy could never rest. Time passed differently for an immortal. Human kingdoms rose and vanished. Sailors crossed the western sea. Generations looked toward the horizon. Atlas remained. He could see movement everywhere. He could not participate in it. The Titan also became the father of famous daughters. Different sources connect him with the Pleiades and the Hyades. They also connect him with the Hesperides and the nymph Calypso. Maia, one of the Pleiades, became the mother of Hermes. Calypso later detained Odysseus on her island. The Hesperides guarded golden apples in a garden at the edge of the world. Atlas stood near these stories without being free to enter them. His family moved through myth. He remained beneath the sky. Then Heracles arrived. Heracles had been ordered to complete a series of impossible labors. One labor required him to obtain the golden apples of the Hesperides. The apples belonged to Hera. They grew in a protected garden. A dragon guarded the tree. The location itself was uncertain. Heracles traveled to the far west searching for it. Eventually, he reached Atlas. In one famous version, Heracles proposed an exchange. Atlas knew the garden. He could collect the apples, but he could not leave while the sky remained on his shoulders. Heracles offered to hold the heavens temporarily. For the first time since his punishment began, Atlas transferred the weight. Heracles stepped beneath the sky. The burden came down. Even the strongest mortal hero felt its impossible pressure. Atlas stood upright. He moved his shoulders. He took a step, then another. Freedom returned as a physical sensation. The Titan went to the garden. He passed the guardian. He collected the golden apples. Then he returned to Heracles. But Atlas no longer wanted the sky. He offered to carry the apples back to King Eurystheus himself. The suggestion sounded helpful. Its meaning was obvious. Atlas intended to leave Heracles holding heaven forever. Heracles understood the trap. He did not challenge the Titan with force. He used intelligence. The hero agreed. He asked Atlas for one small favor. Would the Titan hold the sky for a moment while Heracles placed padding on his shoulders? Atlas accepted. He set down the apples. He stepped beneath heaven again. Heracles picked up the fruit. Then he walked away. Atlas had experienced freedom. He had lost it through the same hope that made him try to keep it. The scene changes the meaning of his punishment. Before Heracles, Atlas may have believed no one else could carry the burden. Now he knew another body could take his place. His captivity was no longer physically inevitable. It continued because he had been outwitted. That knowledge may have made the sky feel heavier. Another tradition connects Atlas with Perseus. In Ovid's later Roman telling, Atlas ruled a wealthy western kingdom. A prophecy warned him that a son of Zeus would steal golden fruit. When Perseus asked for shelter, Atlas refused him. Perseus responded by revealing the severed head of Medusa. Atlas turned to stone. His hair became forests. His shoulders became mountain ridges. His head rose into a summit. The sky continued resting upon the new mountain. This story conflicts with the version in which Heracles meets Atlas as a living titan. Ancient mythology often preserves contradictions instead of removing them. Different poets used the same figure to explain different parts of the world. The Atlas Mountains in North Africa became the petrified Titan. The celestial bearer became a feature of geography. Atlas also entered the history of books and maps. During the Renaissance, collections of maps began to use his image. The word Atlas eventually became the name for a book of maps. The Titan did not originally carry Earth, yet he became permanently associated with representations of the world. The misunderstanding became more famous than the ancient burden, yet the original image is more powerful. Holding Earth would mean carrying an object. Holding heaven means preserving a separation. Atlas is trapped between two realities. He can never fully belong to either. The ground supports his feet. The sky crushes his shoulders. His body becomes the distance between them. The myth asks what happens when ability becomes obligation. Atlas is punished with the task he is best equipped to perform. No ordinary being could replace him. That makes his strength useless to himself and essential to everyone else. The same pattern appears in human life. The person who endures the most is often given more to endure. The worker who never refuses receives another burden. The family member who appears strongest becomes responsible for everyone. Reliability can become a cage. Other people see capacity. They stop seeing cost. Atlas cannot collapse because the consequences would reach beyond him. His personal exhaustion becomes less important than the stability of the world. This is why his image survives in buildings, statues, and language. We speak of carrying the weight of the world. We describe impossible responsibility as an Atlas burden. But the Titan's tragedy is not simply that the weight is enormous. It is that putting it down would destroy everything beneath it. Heracles offers a temporary answer. Even the strongest bearer needs relief. But relief without trust becomes another danger. Atlas tries to turn a moment of help into permanent escape. Heracles protects himself by returning the burden. Neither man can create a fair exchange. One must leave. The other must remain. Atlas therefore represents strength without victory. He survives the war. He survives the punishment. He survives every century that follows. Survival does not set him free. His immortality guarantees that the sentence can continue forever. A mortal prisoner may hope for death. Atlas cannot. The stars move across the sphere above him. Constellations complete their cycles. The Titan remains in the same position. He becomes the still point beneath a changing universe. So remember the true burden of Atlas. It is not a planet balanced like a ball. It is the ceiling of creation. Remember that he once set it down. Remember the first steps he took after ages of stillness. Remember that he returned and chose deception rather than captivity. Remember how quickly freedom vanished. Atlas is one of the strongest beings in Greek mythology. That strength saves the world every moment. It cannot save him. The heavens remain above us. The earth remains below. At the western edge of myth, a defeated Titan remains. He continues holding the distance between earth and heaven.